A local singer and songwriter is celebrating her brand new album and tour. Maggie Rose is celebrating No One Gets Out Alive.
Yes, it's what Rolling Stone has called her most successful reinvention in Nashville history. Welcome in, friend.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, so excited to have you here. The talent.
I was just saying, I can't imagine what it would be like to have your voice. It's so phenomenal.
You guys are very sweet. Thanks for letting me share it with you.
Oh, yes. Okay, well, so talk about the new album and the inspiration behind it.
It's called No One Gets Out Alive, and it's very much about swinging for the fences and going for it, using the limited time we have while we have it. And it's about moving on and finding catharsis and taking stock of where I am in life and having gratitude. And when I made the record, the industry was in a pretty tough spot with the pandemic, and prospects weren't like super abundant for anyone, touring or recording or otherwise. But I just made this record because I wanted to, and I tried not to be super outcome oriented and make something beautiful. I feel like I'm finally being rewarded for that, for doubling down on myself.
I love that.
So powerful.
Yeah, that's very meaningful. Okay, we have to have we have to listen to a clip. Excuse me. This is one that you performed at the Caverns. Let's take a listen.
Watch the sky from a hill. Do what you can to make time stand still. 'Cause you know no one gets out alive. Bring the wine and stay ablaze. Let's pretend we'll always be together.
Ooh, gives you chills. Okay, how do you describe your sound? I've read up on how others describe it, but I want to hear from you.
It's always been tough to totally nail down, but I transcend a bunch of genres. It's soulful, it's rock, it's got a touch of country, especially like that storytelling, personal aspect of country music writing, folk Americana. But I love the live show because I feel like we get to bring the audience into all those different facets of the music. There's more soul forward than anything.
Yeah, I felt it in mine, okay?
Awesome, that's what we want.
Speaking of performances, you just had your 100th Opry performance. What was that like?
Surreal. I mean, so actually, I'm a nerd, I keep count. It's 106 now.
Oh.
And the Opry is such an amazing place. It's an institution that's been around for so long. And I think it's because they are paying attention to what's going on in Nashville and music, and it's such a familial vibe when you go in there. So I feel like my first time I performed there was 2012, and they've kept inviting me back, and I'll keep going as long as they invite me.
That's so amazing. Now, you're also performing this week here.
Yes.
So tell us where, when, and what people can expect.
So Brooklyn Bowl this Friday, May 10th. It's essentially like our album release show for our hometown, Nashville. And because I've incorporated components like strings and elements that I haven't in my music before, we're gonna have a string section. Brooklyn Bowl always has incredible production, and I have two incredible artists opening up, Crystal Rose and Fancy Haygood. So the show starts at 8. We'll be performing every song from the new album, along with some old favorites that people should expect to hear as well. And it's going to be a party.
Yeah, it is. May 10th. You said earlier that you felt like it's paying off because you doubled down on who you are. I think that's advice that everyone can use. How did you do that?
I think, I'm surrounded by really talented, great people. And my band is so solid, and they've been touring with me over 100 shows last year. I've also been here for 16 years, so I've met a lot of talented people. So it's nice when you have friends who can play music so well and will record records with you. So they substantiated that conviction. And I think it's also just making music for yourself, and your audience is smart. They can tell when you're doing something that's authentic to you. And that's what I tried to do with this record. And it was probably a more personal project than any I've put out thus far. So it was an exercise in vulnerability, for sure.
Wow. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
thank
So
you,
Thank
Maggie
you.
Rose.
Please come back.
I
Yes,
will.
please.
Thank you for having me.
You can check out Maggie Rose and her No One Gets Out Alive tour at Brooklyn Bowl again this Friday.